So, a little chat. Hey guys, what's going on? Greg here with another video. Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a long time since I posted, and I hate to use this excuse every time, but it's just been pretty busy. But I do appreciate you guys stopping by for this video. So, December the 6th actually marked my 8th and final year in the United States Air Force. For those of you guys who don't know how it works, whenever you join active duty military, you have to serve X amount of years in active duty, and then you have to do reserve, usually 2 years. At least that's what the Air Force does. And I've completed those 2 years of reserve, so I'm officially free, as they say. So now that I've completed my obligation with the military, I think it's a good time to just make a video just kind of explaining my overall experience and my thoughts on the military itself. I want to give a quick disclaimer about what this video is not going to be. I'm not here to trash talk the military. I'm not here to sell you guys on anything. If you guys are interested in joining any branch of service, I definitely encourage you guys to do your own research and research the hell out of it because, you know, yeah, maybe I've been in for 6 years, but technically I've been out for 2. So I just don't want to give you guys any misinformation. Definitely encourage you guys to go seek that out. And yeah. Let's get on with the video. So right out of high school, I really thought that I wanted to be a pilot. So I did the bare amount of research, the bare minimum amount of research. I, just kind of had like this idea, like I want to be a pilot, but I'm not really gonna, be, I guess, like proactive about it. And I ended up I think like most people do, I ended up looking into the Air Force because I figured, hey, Air Force, you fly airplanes. That's all they do, right? On top of that, I had just gotten engaged, so I knew that I had to get my life together. Like I knew that I wasn't going to be able to just sit around and do nothing. I wanted to be able to provide for my new wife and everything. So yeah, there's just a lot of things that were kind of just up in the air, and it happened just in such a short amount of time that I barely even had time to process what was happening. I graduated high school in the summer of 2011, and I was heading out to basic training in December of that same year. So just a lot of things happened. I got married before that, and it was just so many things happening. So there was a lot of things up in the air, and I knew that I had to have some sort of a plan, and the Air Force just kind of fit, kind of checked most of those boxes at that point in time in my life. So yeah, that's basically the story of how I decided to join. So I want to fast forward a little bit through some of the boring parts. I don't want to sit here and give you every single detail of what was happening because it's really not that interesting. But so from basic training all the way to my first duty station, which was in Omaha, Nebraska, there was a lot of stuff going on inside my head. Like there's a lot of I guess just like second guessing on my behalf, especially since the decision, as I mentioned before, was done in such a short amount of time. I was really questioning the reasoning why I joined the military, which was I thought because I wanted to be a pilot. I thought that was the main reason, but I later realized as I was flying to San Antonio for basic training that I was pretty scared of flying. Not like petrified, but like enough for me to be like, I don't think that this is the right career path to take. There was that, and then I actually started talking to a lot of people that were in the, flying business. I've actually met a commercial pilot that was actually going through basic training so he can get an education to get a different job because that job was just not working out for him. So just know that from basic training to, all the way through tech school and then finally to my duty station, I had been going through a lot. I've been going through a lot of processing, and I was already just full of doubts and full of questions about what my future was going to be like. I want to go ahead and take a minute just to give you guys some info about the good stuff about the military before I just ultimately tell you why I got out. So the Air Force provided for me such stability, like, for someone who was just 19 years old, has never had a job, it was like the best deal that I could have ever imagined. It was, I was getting paid a really good amount of money. I was getting hella benefits. We're talking dental, eye, everything, medical, everything was paid for. I remember when my first child was born, I paid nothing. It was zero. I got the bill from the hospital, and it was just zeroed out at the bottom, and it's awesome. I mean, being in the hospital is expensive, and I didn't have to pay anything. So, in that aspect, I will always be grateful, and I will always tell people, as far as like when you're looking at all those little boxes that people always tell you to look for in a job, right? When they tell you like good benefits, good pay, what's it called? Opportunities for advancement, all that stuff, challenging, all that, people skill, everything. The Air Force, that's what it was. That's what it provided for me. Work for the most part was always something, fairly different. And even if it was the same, you knew that you were doing something like fairly unique to that environment. And again, it's like I was part of this like really kind of like elite exclusive club, you know what I mean? And, I can't compare that feeling to anything that I've been doing right now. So like I said, I just want to take some time to let you guys know, like, if you're looking for that, I will say, like, yeah, if you're looking for anything that I just described, if you're looking for that, traveling, all that stuff, just getting out of your hometown, the Air Force is a good avenue to take and just to kind of try it out. Because basically what I did, because I only did 6 years. So that's basically what I did. I was trying this out, and it was a great experience. So definitely I can't thank the military enough in that aspect, because I was able to experience like, basically the life that most people are trying to get to. Like you get out of high school, you get a job, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to get a house. I did all of that in less than a year of joining. Like it was incredible how fast the Air Force, hooked me up, as they say. So I just wanted to take some time. So now let's get into ultimately why I decided to leave. So after my daughter was born, I really started to focus on the future. I really, that just changed. And I don't want to sound like corny or whatever it is. It changed my life. It did. It changed my whole outlook on my life. And really, I started to see everything that I was doing as an example for my daughter. And so I didn't want to settle. And I kept telling myself that, like, I don't want to think that I'm settling. And when I started just kind of assessing what was happening, I realized that, yeah, like this job is great. These benefits are great. Traveling is great. I'm living in a city that I would never ever think to live in. But what does the future look like? You know what I mean? I always just thought, what if my daughter asked me one day, hey, Dad, why do we live here and not with all our family back in El Paso? And I would say, well, it's because, I got a good job and I never thought about leaving. And like just to the thought of my daughter just kind of analyzing that in her brain, and just her thinking like, oh, well, I guess it's okay to just find something and stay comfortable and not like ruffle any feathers, not like rock the boat or anything. You just stay in one spot that you feel safe and just never explore. And maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself, but those are the types of feelings that I was starting to get. And once you get those feelings, everything just becomes clear. I knew right there, I don't like this job. I don't. Does it make me happy? No. Is the money good enough reason to stay? No, it wasn't. And ultimately, I don't know how to speak. Ultimately, one of the biggest motivators was my mother. My family. All my family lives here in El Paso. They weren't going to be able to spend time with my daughter. They weren't going to be able to spend time with their niece, with their granddaughter. It was just that realization that money and, success, everything, the package, as people say, is nothing. In my opinion, it was nothing compared to being close to family, being in a place where you have all the support because people love you, not because not because the government is telling them, hey, you got to take care of this person, but because they're your blood. And I don't know, it was really strange. I remember telling my wife, this is really strange because when I left, I was really, really sure that I was like, yeah, this is the right thing to do. I think I need to leave because what am I going to do here? You know, there's all these things holding me back. And when I was out there, I really felt kind of alone. I never really fit in with that whole like military vibe as like, hey, you know what? I got a mission to do. I got to leave. And, you know, my family just has to understand. I always hated leaving my family. I always hated deploying and not being able to wake up next to my wife and be like, hey, look, want to go outside? Like, we're in Japan. Let's go hang out. We're in Alaska. Let's go do something. I hated that. That always kind of bummed me out. So really, that's the biggest motivation, was just not being able to spend enough time with my family, not just, you know, my immediate family, you know, my wife and my kids at home, but also, you know, all my family here in El Paso. So that was like the biggest reason why I decided to get out. There was no animosity towards the military, but I do want to talk about a little bit of the things in the military that just, in my opinion, could make it very difficult. If you're a person like me that likes to, you know, that likes their family, that likes to be around their family, and, you know, doesn't like to move around a lot, that the military is just not a good place for you. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It is a lot of sacrifice. And you're sacrificing something that, to me is worth more than any monetary thing that you can imagine. And that's time. And I know that sounds corny, and I don't even know if that was the right sentence to use, because English is not my first language, so you know what? That's what I'm going to stick with. The thing is that you give up a lot of time. You invest a lot of time, and ultimately you do a lot of waiting at times. And, you know, you are under contract to the government, and they expect you to do certain things at certain times in a certain way. And a lot of the times you're not going to have the option to say no. Sometimes they'll give you the option to say no. But a lot of times you're not. A lot of times you just have to bite the bullet and say, "All right, I guess we're not. We're not going to go on vacation this year, or we're not going to go see your grandmother this year, or whatever." A lot of time is spent doing what you have to do for the mission. And listen, this is the thing that you sign up for. I'm not here to tell you like, "Hey, you know what? It sucks." Like, if you join the military, they're going to tell you what to do. Obviously. But listen to what I said in the beginning. You're giving up your time, and they're letting you, they're letting you experience this. Like I said, it's just like a nice elite club that you're part of, man. I had a house, I had good pay, I had great benefits, and I was learning about, all these different places around the world, and I was meeting all these different kinds of people from all walks of life. It's a great experience. I will never be able to duplicate what I had in the military, because, like I said, it's such a low percentage of people that even join. It's completely unique. So, in that aspect, again, I recommend, if you're trying to experience anything like that, anything that I'm saying just it kind of appeals to you, of course I would say, yeah, you should try the military. But just know, you're going to be giving up a lot of time. You're going to be sacrificing a lot. And to me, I just couldn't deal with that. After a while, it was just too much. And it was that in combination with the fact that sometimes they're not going to be able to let you just move on. And that was one of the biggest issues that I had, is that I wasn't able to move on. Of course, from what I was saying in the beginning, it's all about how proactive you are about it. And yes, I will go ahead and take the blame and say that there were times where I wasn't as proactive about it. But, it did seem that there were times where I wanted just to move on, whether it was a different base or a different job. And it seemed like the difficulty level was raised just to kind of keep me where I was. Just so I wouldn't move on. Now, again, this is my biased opinion. I don't, there's plenty of people that I know that have had a great Air Force career, and they've been able to go back and forth to every single place imaginable. But from my experience, it did seem like, the Air Force was like, hey, you know what? You need to stay here. This is your place. And so I didn't like that. I didn't want to be away from her family. I wanted my daughter to know her grandparents. And I was just ready for a different thing. So that is why in 2018, I decided to enroll in technical school here in El Paso for the HVAC program. I have the hiccups. I'm so sorry. And ultimately just moved back to El Paso. And since then, I've had another child. I've just been able to reconnect with so many people in my family. And I have zero regrets. I have zero regrets in the military. Any bad thing that I say is just because, I have this just like these bad memories. But ultimately, when I look back, even if the bad memories are, something so trivial like, oh, I had to come in work late one time, or one time we got snowed in, like something dumb like that. It's ever so outweighed. I don't even know that's how you say it. It's so outweighed by all the cool things that I got to see in the Air Force. I got to go to Japan. I got to go to Alaska. I got to, like I said, meet a bunch of different cool people. I got to do some weird, just jobs that you're like, who does this for a living? And they're like, oh yeah, right. This is this is to help this and this is to help that, and you really see kind of like the domino, this is even the most the meaningless job. You think this is a meaningless job, and you see it it just goes up. It just affects the whole mission. It's amazing. Again, great experience. And I don't want to sit here and just keep repeating myself. So I'm going to go ahead and just end it here. I know this video is kind of all over the place and it's really just a rant. But I want to leave you guys with this statement, which will be simply, don't ever settle. Don't ever compromise your happiness for convenience. In my opinion, convenience will always find a way. You'll always settle. You'll always find something to kind of just normalize everything that you're doing. So why do it? Why use that ability, or I guess, I don't know, what we want to call it, habit, with something that doesn't bring you happiness, with something that makes you miserable. I loved everything the Air Force did for me, but I just was not happy. And some days I was just straight up miserable. I missed my family, and I just, I missed having the option to move on if I needed to. And so if that's your situation, and if that means, hey, I should join the Air Force, or hey, if that means, hey, I should leave the Air Force, whatever it is, whatever you're doing, if it's a job, if it's school, whatever you're doing, in my opinion, I don't think that we should ever surrender our happiness just for convenience, just for money, just for anything. Because, I don't know, I don't think that's the way life should be lived. So I'm going to go ahead and leave you with that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was kind of like a heavier video, but I finally get to talk about this. I haven't talked about this in a while. So if you guys have any questions, please leave it in the comments. I'll make another video. I can make another video responding to those comments. Or if you guys want me to just make another video regarding my military, you guys can, I guess, let me know. And maybe we can make it a series. I don't know. We can do something. Again, just comment, like, subscribe. If you guys don't know, the Reject Bean podcast is still going, but I just haven't had time, again, to record and actually just find someone to talk to, because I don't want it just to be Melissa and me all the time. I want to be able to actually get different guests and stuff. But if you are interested in seeing me, in a podcast setting, go ahead and check out Los Terrícolas podcast, which is a podcast that my two cousins are running, and I'm just kind of the host or whatever, but they're the ones that are doing most of the heavy lifting. They're just basically using my gear. So if you guys want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description. It's a lot of fun. It's me and my cousins, and they're pretty quirky guys, so we're just kind of sitting there talking about different subjects and just being silly. So if that's something that appeals to you, go ahead and check that out. And again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.